like to have big money down.
Didn't put it on the scoreboard. Credit to Charlestown's defence as well. Charlestown much more economical up front. Mitchells have had at least 10 if not 11 wides. Charlestown, when they get the ball into the scoring zone, they're able to put that ball over the bar, and that's kept them 100% in the game. And with 2 minutes to go, a 1 point game, anything can happen here, Mike.
Ray O'Malley, the Mitchells player who has been booked by Vinnie Neary, and he's not going to be the only one. Now the play has restarted, but Vinnie Neary's not ready just yet to get us up and running. He wants to have a word with Gareth O'Donnell. So yellows all round. One for Gareth O'Donnell, one for Ray O'Malley. And now the game will restart with Mitchells, you wouldn't say clinging to a 1 point lead, but not very comfortable either. Kirby holds off Alan Woods. You'd imagine one more score for Mitchells would probably make it safe, as Donny Vaughan just pulls up there, doesn't look happy, and that's the universal signal for
loss for next week, but it'll be a big loss for the next 2 or 3 minutes as well. He put the hand up. It looks like he's going to have to come off for the hamstring injury there.
Well, Donny Vaughan has been so unlucky over the last few years with injuries, an issue with his hip flexor muscles primarily, the reason why we didn't see him in the early stages of the National League this year with Mayo. But by all accounts, he was ready to go for that game that never happened against Galway in mid-March. He has been training away with the Mitchells these last few months in preparation for this evening, and this is really, really unfortunate for Donny Vaughan and for Mitchells.
I thought he was having quite a good game actually, in particular in the second half. He was just doing a lot of unseen work, just tipping away, got a good point. Free into Mitchells. So
the free taken and won by James Durkin, and he's also drawn the foul, and there have been numerous occasions, Declan, this evening, hasn't there, when Mitchells have needed somebody to get on the ball and to make something happen. It's been the likes of Kirby or Vaughan or one of the Durkin brothers who's done that for them. It has, the real leaders in the game now. This is a big kick for Ethan. This is the most pressurised one by a long way so far. Ethan Gibbons straight in front of the goal. We're just in injury time, and he's pushed it away and wide. As you said, it was a pressure kick. It was, pressure does different things to you, because that was one of the more easier ones that he had, but he just pushed it out to his left and wide. Now the question is, how much injury time will Vinnie Neary add on? Because had that gone over, you'd imagine that Mitchells were home and hose, but they've missed the free. They've left Charlestown in it, but now they might just make it safe. Here comes Paddy Durkin, herring down the centre. He's got pace to burn. He's going for it, and Durkin with the point. He may have had goal in his mind, but the shot was always rising, and it may turn out to be as good as a goal in the finish, because it just gives Mitchells that insurance point. They're Charlestown may need a goal here to get what they want. 2 points is a dangerous lead, though. They may come looking for a goal now. So 1-11 for the Mitchells, 1-9 for Charlestown. Man fouled in the middle of the field is Niall Murphy. Parsons wants to take it quickly, not being let take it. So Colin May is in there. O'Reilly jumps, and Owen O'Reilly out. Gives his way out through the, and Gavin Durkin is taken out, and that's a free to Mitchells. And was that Charlestown's last throw of the dice? We're nearly 2 minutes into stoppage time. It all depends on what Vincent Neary is prepared to play now. Owen O'Reilly, I have to say, has dealt well with some of those balls that have gone in the second half, and that was a vital one. Mitchells now will try and run down the clock, and again, as we said earlier, they've got so much big game experience. County finals, Connacht club finals. Who can forget that All-Ireland semi-final win a couple of years ago against Crossmaglen Rangers as well? They've been there and they've done that, and they are very adept at defending a lead like this in the dying moments, as Ray O'Malley plays the advantage. Vinnie Neary letting the game develop, letting it continue. Ball is drilled across by Gavin Durkin over to Fergal Durkin. No relation, and here's Paddy Durkin, who is a first cousin of Gavin, all right. Paddy Durkin just fouled as he tried to step by Paddy Goldrick, and that will run down the clock a little more, and it looks like Mitchells will get out of here with the win, but they have got one almighty test deck.
They have, absolutely. And Paddy Durkin, the leader that he is and the county footballer that he is, has really stood up in the last 5 minutes as well. And he's a great man to get on the ball with that pace that he has.
Full-time score from Ballandine. It's finished in a draw. Davitt's 9 points. My Davitt's 9 points. Like we might have a draw as well, but Mitchells are coming with a late burst, and Gavin Durkin has just been fouled there as he tried to go through. Big, strong unit is Gavin Durkin, and he is still full of running, and in steps his out a few different free takers this evening, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that kick from James Durkin. It comes in the 34th minute, and it's now Castlebar Mitchels 1-12, Charlestown 1-9, and good enough to get the Mitchells. So Charlestown have one more chance, or have they? They've lost that ball casually. Jimmy Durkin cuts through, and that is surely that.
That's that.
Well, Charlestown, they were given every chance by Vinnie Neary to muster up one last attack, breakdown in communications, and Jimmy Durkin makes them pay.
He does, and Jimmy Durkin has finished like, I suppose, people would thought that he might play the full game, but when it had counted, he showed up and he showed real endeavour, and he showed a really good turn of pace at the end of the game when there's a lot of tired bodies, and he clipped.
Riley swings a leg at it, and it flies away and wide. Well, Charlestown very nearly getting the late goal that would have set up quite a grandstand finish 5 minutes into stoppage time. Not to be, but if they were going to create the chance, if they were going to have a go, it was almost inevitably going to be one of Towie or Lenihan or that man Riley.
Yeah, he's got 2 good points in the second half, and he got in there. It was a kind of half a chance. He threw the left leg at it. I think Rory Byrne had it covered, you could see from our angle, but it drifted harmlessly away. I don't think Vince will play much more here, Mike.
Good shout, Declan. It's all over, and Castlebar Mitchells get what they came for. They've beaten Charlestown 1-13 to a goal and 9. But what a really, really good game we got, considering the weather conditions, considering the short build-up time that clubs have had to this year's championship. We got a cracking contest. Everything was left out there, and in the end Mitchells just had that little bit of extra quality up front that got them home and got them the win.
I would say that they had a little bit more experience, Mike. I think you referenced it in your commentary there that a lot of these players have been through a lot of tight scrapes. They've been in a lot of tight scrapes, in a lot of tight corners that have come out invariably more often than they haven't. So I think that really stood to them there. You could see that they were calm and they were to Charlestown. I thought Charlestown, when they started the second half, might die out of this game, but credit to them, they hung right on in there, and they were there to the very end. In the last 5 minutes, that's really when Mitchell's pulled away, and it's credit to them that they did that. It's their experience, it's their know-how, and it's their pace, and I suppose it's the leader.
Paddy Durkin herring down the centre. He's got pace to... Well, speaking of second half and the way things changed, remember at the break, Mitchells had managed to get themselves out in front. They were 2 points ahead going, and Charlestown never made it easy for them.
No, they didn't. The Castlebar had a lot of that ball at the start of the second half in that third quarter. As we said, they had all the momentum. If you remember, after the water break in the first half, where they finished very strong in that 10-minute period, they started again like that, but they were wasteful in front of goal, and they only had 1 point clocked on the board. And that's then when Charlestown really were a bit more economical with the ball. They had the one possession, but when they got the ball in front, they didn't have many wides, and they were able to chip away and get some good scores, and it kept it a real contest till the very end. There was only a 1 point game in it where we were into the last minute, and Mitchell's pulled away in the last 3.
There you saw a moment ago that half chance of a goal for Jack Riley in the dying moments. In hindsight, it may have been too little too late in any event, but you touched on one of the key words there, Declan: experience. It almost seemed in those last 5-10 minutes in particular, every mistake, every lapse in concentration that Charlestown had is on it, and availing of those sort of opportunities.
Yeah. fair enough. But there's fatigue, there's tiredness, there's exhaustion, there's work rate, and Charlestown had given everything that they had. I felt that they were really good up to that. And yeah, and so just to finish off on that point, I know there's a presentation here in the pitch. Just to finish on that point, the experience that they had, the experience really kicked in because, as I've already said, they look comfortable on the ball in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're just going to hear again here from Kevin Dye. At the moment, we're seeing Alan Flynn there at the moment speaking not only to his own Castlebar Mitchels players, but to the Charlestown Sarsfields squad as well.
Yeah, Mike, I think Castlebar are making a presentation to the captain of Charlestown. Just, I think it's in relation to Colin McGinn. I see Alan Flynn talking out there. Again, a lovely gesture by Castlebar Mitchels. At the end of the day, it's only a game of football. So, just a round of applause there.
And I know something, as Kevin mentioned there, something that is very much appreciated by everybody here at Charlestown Sarsfields from the moment we arrived here today, speaking to the likes of Liam Breheny and everyone wearing the Charlestown colours. Really, you can detect that overwhelming sense of sadness. So raw for everybody in the community. A month's mind will be held here at Father O'Hara Park tomorrow for Colum, and a lovely gesture by Castlebar Mitchels. Paddy Durkin there, both sets of players making a presentation to Gareth O'Donnell and to Jerry McLaughlin, the Charlestown number 3 and number 6. And as we mentioned earlier as well, of course, Charlestown retiring the number 11 jersey this season is as a mark of respect to Colum Horkin, and Paddy Goldrick today, the centre forward, wearing number 17. And you mentioned it there, Kevin. In the greater scheme of things, it's a game of football. I'm sure Charlestown would have loved nothing more than to win this first round game here at home at Father O'Hara Park to try and, I suppose, lift the mood, as it were. But you have to give credit where it's due. They gave absolutely everything in pursuit of victory here this evening.
100%, Mike. They kept going to the final whistle, and even with 10 minutes to go, I think they were only a point down. Castlebar owned the ball for the first 15-20 minutes of the second half, but didn't show it on the scoreboard really. And once we got a point back to within a point, it was game on again. But the experience again, Castlebar showed, they won the frees in the second half, and Charlestown just maybe a bit of inexperience cost them at times. I know there was one or two passes there. This told how he was coming out to take a free. I think there was still time that would brought it back to a point again. I think they were 2 points down. I think Castlebar went down and got another point to make it 3 at that stage. But overall, I think Castlebar were deserving winners on the day. Charlestown got into great position first half, but again, experience got Castlebar. At half time they were 2 or 3 points up. So Charlestown will have to recoup now. Big game next week again. That's the nature of the championship this year. There's no time to. They'll have to recover tomorrow, get into the ice baths, get in the swimming pool, and see how injuries are. And as I say, go at it again next week and see where they're at. Yeah,
you mentioned next weekend's game. I'm just looking at the fixtures here. Talk about coming thick and fast. Next Saturday evening, Charlestown go to Westport for that second round game. Of course, we'll find out tomorrow how Brafey and Westport pan out. But going to places like Westport, firing on all cylinders. They don't come any bigger in Charlestown these days than Tom Parsons. Tell us, what were your impressions of how Tom played this evening? And overall, I gather he's been a massive boost to the squad this season, being able to train regularly and throwing himself heart and soul into his club football.
Yeah, I suppose that's the difference this year, having the county players round for the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's made a massive difference, I'm sure, to the younger lads. Up a lot of breaks, but I think second half Castlebar Mitchels got to grips and sort of crowded him out and won a few breaks. But it's hard for Tommy still getting back to match sharpness after a horror injury. It's great to see him out there. As I said, hopefully he can recoup and be ready to go again next Saturday or Sunday evening, because we'll need him in Westport, because the way Westport are going at the moment, it could be it'll be a big game overall.
Kevin, thank you very much for taking the time to join us this evening. I know it wasn't easy, particularly with Colm Hawkins. Are hightailing it across to Ballahadreen, hopefully for a 7 o'clock throw-in. I'm going to ask you in a moment for your selection for man of the match from this game, but before I do, a quick look at that mouth-watering prospect next Sunday afternoon, 2:30 in Castlebar. The Mitchells against Brafey. I won't quite say you have a foot in both camps, but you know this is the derby really that everybody in that part of the world has been waiting for months and months and months.
Yeah, it's a big game. It's a really big game for everybody that's involved in football or that has any association with any sort of club football or county football in Mayo. A lot of county stars on show, club rivals, Brafey looking to win their first county title. I think it's going to be a massive one. But before we can get to that, Mike, we have Brafey and Westport tomorrow out in Brafey. I think myself and yourself are on duty out there as well, and that's going to be a massive game to look forward to. The result of that game is going to have a huge bearing on how this group, I suppose, pans out. So I suppose if we start with today and we look at Castlebar versus Charlestown, realistically there wasn't a whole lot between the two teams. There was a cut 3 points in it at the end of the game, but Charlestown were in there. If you remember, Colin May got a ball just at his feet. He was only after coming on. Charlestown were only a point down. It looked like that they were in a scoring position. From that turnover, Castlebar came down and got a point, and Charlestown had just ran out of legs at that stage. So you could say for 60 to 61 minutes, Charlestown went toe-to-toe with Castlebar Mitchels here. The Mitchells then showed the experience that they've gained over the last 6, 7 or 8 years to pull away in the last 5 minutes. But credit to Charlestown for making them to have to do that. Castlebar will come out of here happy enough and relieved that they've got the 2 points. That's essentially what they came for. They've picked up a couple of knocks. It's particularly good, quietly efficient game in the second half. Thought he went about his business really well. That trademark point of his coming off the left where he kicked it over with the right foot, that was to bring them back level, to push on by 2 points. And Mitchells were in the ascendancy there. He showed great leadership. Hamstrings are notoriously slow. A 6-day, 7-day turnaround is going to be a big ask for him. It's Saturday. It's an 8-day turnaround. It's a big ask. So that brings us to Brafey and Castlebar the following week, the game that everybody talks about. It's rivalry. Castlebar have the ascendancy in that. There is no doubt about it. You go back to the county finals of 2013 and the county finals of 2015, the last time the two teams have met, Castlebar have won both of those games. It sticks in. It's a healthy rivalry, but for Brafey to evolve and progress and push on, they feel they will need to beat Castlebar Mitchells in order to go on and challenge for a county title. So with all the football that we have, this weekend has only started. This is only our starting point. We have tomorrow and we have next week. It's great to have this football to look forward to, and what we're looking for is really good competitive games. I enjoyed that game of football out there in tough conditions. Credit to both teams, in particular credit to Charlestown on what was a very difficult day for them. And they really put it up to Castlebar. Experience told at the end, but if the rest of the championship is anything to go by that game, then we have a good 6 or 7 weeks to look forward to.
And briefly, your man of the match?
There was a couple of standout guys. I thought for Charlestown for sure, Paul Towie was the go-to guy. He was the go-to guy. Everything that came through him, he set up the goal, he got the scores. He was a real handful. He's a real classy player. He's going to be a county player. There's no doubt about that. He's already in James Horan's plans. And really, from a Mayo point of view and a coaching officer point of view, what we're looking for is hard-working, honest forwards that can win their own ball, link up with players, and tip away on the scoreboard. He ticks all those boxes. I was very, very impressed with him. For Castlebar, I thought Paddy Durkin came into it, and James when it really counted, Donny Vaughan. But for his first game, and I know a lot of them were for frees, Ethan Gibbons, who got the goal and notched up 1-5, I think for him, and to look past him would be remiss of me. It's his first game, 5 frees. The pressure one at the end didn't go his way, but he'll be learning all the time. So if anybody's talked to Ethan beforehand and said, look, we're going to score 113, you're going to get 1-5 of them, I think we'll give him the man of the match for that.
My thanks to Declan O'Reilly for his company and analysis all evening long, to Colm Gannon from the Mayo Advertiser, the sports editor of the Mayo Advertiser, and also Kevin Dignan from Charlestown Sarsfields for joining us as well. Declan said we enjoyed this game. We're also looking forward immensely to tomorrow's game between Brafey and Westport. We'll be back to talk you through that game live from Brafey at 4 o'clock. That, of course, first round game also in the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship. And coming up very shortly, 7 o'clock throw-in, remember, at Clogher. It is the back-to-back county champions Ballintubber at home to Ahmore. Another one to savour and to look forward to. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage on Mayo GAA TV this evening. Our sincere apologies for the internet outage a little earlier on in the evening, midway through the second half. Live streaming for you there. These things can happen, but hopefully if you didn't get to see a portion of that second half, you can catch up on it a little bit later on our watch back service. But hopefully you'll get to watch the Ballintubber Ahmore game from start to finish with no interruptions, and we'll be back tomorrow to talk to you from Brafey. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for your company, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.